Okay, did I get it right this time? If you're here and you can see it, let me know. I was trying something new and it didn't work. Bear with me. I see one person. No thumbs up. X out of that and go back. I'm trying to see if I can get it on the my computer. Okay, ground control. Yeah, it's bad, Matt. It's bad. So are you guys seeing it then? I guess Matt's in here. Okay, there it is. Thank goodness. Three people's in. We got it working now, finally. Yeah, it's working over there. Okay. It's Kirk. Evan's in. Hello, how are you guys? Ron's in. Good evening in 30. I know, Ron. I don't know. I was trying it on a different platform and I did several tests this afternoon. I thought it worked, but you guys know how I am with technology. I see and hear you. Okay. Gordon. He's in. What? Oh, it's fine. It's not. Don't touch anything, Matt said. Now it's working. So, are you guys getting pieces of that? Because, like I said, I started it and it said I was live, but it went away quick. I couldn't get it pulled up. So, anyway, wait for a couple more people to get in maybe and see. If you guys are here, don't mind hitting that thumbs up button. I'd appreciate it. Helps with the algorithm. Yeah, sorry, my phone just went off text message. Okay, there's the comments. It seems like it's working from here. Thank you, Evan. Well, mainly, guys, tonight was just to. Okay, Andy said the live chat's not up. Is it working, you guys? I can see it here. Yeah, I'm looking at three different screens. There's Mr. Monty. Okay, so you guys are seeing it. All right, well, I just want to talk about a few things in here tonight, guys. It says there's 15 people in. I'm seeing and hearing good. Ron says, okay, maybe I can keep up with the comments. Good on Yuri and Gordon. Thank you. Just to give you a little insight, I don't know. I set up a trailer on a pre-planned live screen, three screens. I couldn't keep up with all that. What? It's not bouncing, is it?
Yeah, every time you move.
Well, I don't see it on here. Wife says the phone's bouncing. I've got a jankered up tripod. Naturally, everything's at the farm. We're at the house here tonight. Anyway, I just wanted to get on and explain a few things about where we're headed. So 16 people in, 6 thumbs up. I'm going to go ahead and say ahead of time, if I would, I'm going to ask a big favor from all you guys, if you could say a prayer for the Bowers family. They went through a devastating loss, way I understand it, yesterday. And that is actually Nikki and Allison Bowers, farmmerchman.com, who do the merchandise for me, and Russ Thomas, Dylan Joyce, Ruth Farms, Matt Griggs, several other ones. I'm not going to get into too many details, but we lost a very good Christian man this week, and the Lord gained another angel. So if you would just say a prayer for that family, keep them in your thoughts and prayers. I did not get a chance to meet them, but I got a chance to talk, very diligently with them both over the process of setting all my stuff up, and I couldn't imagine what they're going through right now. So just ask for y'all keep them in your prayers. So back to the comments here. Let me see if I can catch up. I'm going right in 3 screens. Okay, third time is a charm. Russ says it's not bouncing. Did Nikki die? Yes, Mr. Ben, he did. The way I understand it, yesterday afternoon, complications from that massive heart attack. Very sad, very, very sad. Grumpy Farmer says you figured it out. Yeah, I did finally, Andy. I don't know. I was trying a different platform and I scheduled it, so I don't even think this is on the scheduled live. Guys, I wanted you to see the trailer of what I was going on, but we got 20 people in, 11 thumbs up. basically, in a nutshell, I want to do this because the upcoming video I talked about doing a live of my direction with my failed corn crop this year, for lack of better words. We talked about that in the video, and basically, what I'm going to say out loud is just that I put the cart before the horse like I do everything else. It was a dream, it has been for years, and once I got close enough to make it become a reality, I did, and I tended to overlook some of the obvious signs of things that I weren't ready for. No problem, Annette and Glenn, thank y'all. One is, of course, storage. We all talked about that. I did a video on my totes and trailer and everything else, but the moisture has to be very, very low on the corn. Y'all know that, for it not to mold and go bad. I don't have a bin to put it in. Up next on Nelson's farm, no cows, Matt. So that was my first problem. I had several of them and did away with them kind of when I got to the fan system. Of course, I did not have any of the cultivators really set up. I didn't have my nitrogen rig set up for the sprayer. And then we had the drought. So basically, what I figured out is Nelson needs cows. No, I don't need cows. Evan, the wife needs cows. She wants cows very much so, but maybe in the future. What I basically figured out is that I've got a lot to learn. Number one, it's a very expensive crop that I know absolutely nothing about. I think I could have had a decent. No, you did not hear cows. Russ, don't even remember that. Even in Butterbean, thank you, Mr. Powell. Hey Nelson, how's it going? Pretty good. I can't really complain. That's what I thought I heard too. Russ, no, you didn't hear that, Ben. You didn't hear that. Where was I? Taking a break. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break from corn. I'm going to basically learn more, get myself better oriented with storage capabilities. I don't know that I still can't really justify the whole Roundup Ready deal with the expense and the low acres that I have with the deer eating. But we're going to reevaluate that. I've got some situations going on with the deer population, and hopefully that'll work itself out. But the reason I think that everything worked out is because I had a lot of customers this year, some that I did hay for, a year or so ago, that wanted more hay that I didn't have because I turned the fields into crops. And the customers I do have wanted quite a bit more hay. And I've also got beads on some stuff for some small grains. So I did pretty good with the wheat. I mean, I'm not going to complain too awful bad. I didn't mess that up near like I did the corn, for lack of better words. So I think in the near future, I'm going to steer more towards small grains, possibly oats, wheat, stuff like that, because I can get the straw out of it. I did really good with the straw sales this year for my customers there. Also, I've got some people lined up for some of the oats and wheat, and then, of course, the hay. So this is a prelude to what you're going to see hopefully Sunday. I'll go back to the comments just a second, guys, and get my, how I love to talk. I planted the front field back into hay. That's what it's been all, the whole time my grandpa was alive. He cut hay off of it, had cows out there, and we cleared it and got it ready. And I mean, I can't really complain. Hay, oats, and wheat off the field, so I got to grow. And I was wanting really hard to put it in corn, but at some point you just have to reel yourself back in, and I don't know enough about it. I'm not experienced enough to really go that route right now. What's in the field will be harvested. If I can fight the weeds, I may end up having to wait till the frost kills them off. The one field is not too bad, and the weeds are the pressure is really lower, which I've been working on that some by hand myself. So we might get down there, but of course, North Carolina and Tennessee and South Carolina and all you guys, just the southern portions of Georgia and Louisiana and all that. I mean, it's just unreal with this hurricane that just came through. Lots of damage, lots of casualties. Prayers for all the families that went through any of that. But, it dumped quite a bit of rain on top of everything else, and now we're fighting mud. So it's going to be quite a while before I get in the field. So I'll keep you posted on that. But hopefully Sunday you'll enjoy it. And if you got to watch the trailer here about the upcoming hay, we're going to try that. We're going to turn most of the fields back into hay and small grains, I think. And I'll put corn on the back burner for maybe a year, probably 2 years, I would say, because I'd really like to get a floor bin and be able to, cut it when it's a little less than dry, and be able to store it and get rid of it. So, all right, let me get back to some comments here. I feel like I'm babbling. Everybody's talking to yourself. No, you didn't hear cows, Russ. Hey, Nelson, how's it going, Mr. Paul? Let's see. I'll drive down with a heifer far away farm. Well, I wish you would drive down. I would actually agree to that if you would drive down, Mr. Will. Evening, Mr. Gary. Ron, go pick that. Oh, thank you, Ron. I really appreciate that. Mr. Bryce is in. Hello, far away farm. Okay. So, 28 people in, 16 thumbs up. Let's see, what did he say? Hey, if we pay more taxes, the weather will get improved allegedly. Yes. Don't you think that? Well, I'm not even going to get into that. I should pull a handy tonight, but I'm not. Good evening, Nelson. Hope you all did well. We did, as far as the storm system here, it didn't really hit my part of North Carolina. The mountains got devastated. They actually started getting rain and storms and stuff prior to it coming up the coast, and so they got torrential rain. I think since Tuesday evening, I've had a little over 3.5 inches of rain, and it's been spanned out like between yesterday and today when the storm actually came through North Carolina. I think I got a little less than 1.5 inches, so it wasn't bad at all, really. Someday I'll drive down. Will says, I wish you would. I really wish you would. I'd love to meet you. I hope to some point in time, maybe later on down the road, get driving plan oriented and make a big circle up to some of you guys in Wisconsin and Minnesota and back down through Ohio and Tennessee and possibly into Alabama and stuff like that. So I got wishful thinking, I guess it is. But ask away, guys, if you got any questions about anything, criticism. Let's see, Banner Elk. Well, yes, I know. The wife showed me a picture of King Street in Boone today, and it was very bad because they had a lot of rain prior to the storm, like I said. Andy's got a long one. Let's see, what's he waiting on? If you live in North Carolina, it's not likely to possibly get 2 foot of snow in November like I could. Let the prosecutor your weed patch, let's corn dry down. Yeah, that's honestly, Andy. I mean, at this point, hang on, Mr. Bean, I'll get back to you. You just have to chalk some things up to a loss. I mean, I did really good with the conventional corn. It was growing well. I mean, even for no nitrogen. And I kind of got scared about putting the nitrogen on as far as not knowing, how much damage it would be with the drought we had. It was really green throughout the summer. Everything was growing great. The ears were looking good. And I think, honestly, once we did start getting rain, the weeds just basically sucked every bit of the nutrients out, what was left there, and it just went all to pieces. So if I would have taken better care of it, of course, we would definitely have a better crop. But I think that's where I am with it because the deer are eating it so bad now. If I can harvest something, I'll make my money back. No doubts at all because for the fact that I didn't have any input cost into it or, chemicals. But I'm not really stressing about it because I've got bigger fish to fry now. And, with the hay situation, if you guys are interested in talking more about that here in a few minutes, we will get into a little bit more about that. But I just have so much going on at so many different times in my one track mind that I tend to go one direction for a little while and then I'll just stop and I'll go another direction. And then what that leaves you with is like 6 or 7 unfinished projects. And when you put a crop in the ground and you're not ready to take care of it and harvest it and do what you need to do, then I'm a prime example of that. So I have to really pull the reins back in, which I told you, all you guys, that I wasn't a farmer in the beginning. I'm learning, and I've been told that several times throughout the comments that I should give up. But, most of it was my fault. I mean, we had bad weather in North Carolina for sure, but most of the corn issues were mine. So probably get back to that. Okay, let's see. Evan says, glad you didn't get much damage down there from the storm. Rooster Cogburn, good evening. You're playing a slot. Thank you, sir, for that. Let's see. Mr. Ben, did you ever thought about trying local distilleries to plant for some seed companies offer seed to plant in? Kind of, Mr. Ben, and I'll say again that, sometimes you have high hopes for good dreams about things, and the bottom line is this. I know that I can sell hay. I've got as much as I can grow and plant for next year sold, no questions asked. I mean, I have some awesome customers. I mean, these are repeat customers buying my weedy stuff, and they some of them want an upgrade, some of them want the regular stuff. Um, but I know I can do pretty good at that. I've got the equipment. I'm going to buy some extra stuff on that. So the small grains, I did pretty good with, the wheat. I got the nitrogen on it, not liquid, but I did dry, and it worked out. And I had a pretty good wheat harvest. The straw went well. So I feel like that I'm quite a bit better at that than I ever will be at corn right now. So I need to get some money rolling into the farm and stockpile some of that, and then get myself leveled out on some of the projects to where I'm not having to scramble around to get something fixed to put it in the field. I mean, I'm always going to do that with older equipment. But to answer your question, Mr. Ben, basically, I'm thinking I just need to concentrate on the quickest and easiest sales for right now for me and for my small operation. Because you got to think about, guys, I'm still not planting, but I'm less than 10 acres, so we're not talking about anything. I know most of you have weed patches that big, but it's a dream for me, and I enjoy it, and I love every minute of it. So I'm going to continue to do it. I've just got to not make such a fool out of myself the next time. All right, let's see, back up here. Andy and Bryce are talking. Russ is talking. I apologize, I'm looking on the wife's phone. We used to wait for a frost for soybeans or premium combat. They don't, and I was looking at those, what do you call them, snap rollers or whatever it is, and the morning glories, and I was warned by that. Luke actually told me about this. Grandpa talked about that when they were cutting soybeans with Glenda, years ago, how bad that would be as far as getting wrapped around there. Tim Flegel was talking about that. So, yeah, I think a good frost might be the best, because I'm not going to gain anything in money or yield by going ahead and trying to fight everything now and fight the weeds. I'm just probably going to lose the rest of my religion if I do that. Whereas I just let the deer have what they're going to have, let the weeds get gone. I'll make do. It'll be plenty dry, and then my deer hunters still want it if they're not, because a lot of them feed all the way through yearly. So we'll have a place to get rid of it for sure. Let's see. I did, Mr. Louie. I'm going back. Maybe you'll enjoy the next video. If you get a chance, check out Sunday's video, because I actually planted some good quality hay this time for North Carolina, and what's easy. I've got some ideas for next year, and I might even dabble into some of that expensive hay stuff. We'll see. I've got some plans. It just depends on how soon I can get the corn off of them. There was a chance that I thought about, honestly, just bush hogging that middle field, the one that's so bad with weeds, and just, burning it down, killing everything, and then starting from scratch. But, there's still some big ears in the bottom part of that field that's not so weedy. So we're going to see what we can do with it. Time is on my side at this point. I have nobody no deadlines to come up with, and it's already, I won't say ruined, but I'm not going to gain anything more than what I had. So the drier the better at this point, and less weeds. All right, let's see. If I'm missing you guys, I apologize. The price of corn is low. Moonshine is more profitable. Tennessee tradition. Or wait, maybe I should get a bus when it's 40 below. I'll head Nelson's place picking up people. Yes, do that, Mr. Will. Do that. Get some manure for your hay. Customers will improve your ground. Yes, I agree. I'm going to do some more of those extensive and very, very expensive soil samples and see. It was just really weird this year with the way the corn did. But again, I can't base my fields or my growth off of what anybody else had other than just drought, because of the fact that mine got nothing. I don't know if that was a benefit to this or not. Somebody mentioned, I want to say this, if you're in here, definitely throw a comment, but the variety that I have, and I'm still learning about, all the ups and downs of each variety, being conventional corn. A lot of people have mentioned that I might not need the population rate that, is normal for the GMO corn stuff, the Roundup Ready stuff, as I call it. I'm not going to talk out of my league there, because honestly, the lower population grew. That was the 10, 11 foot stuff, and it grew phenomenal compared to what the other side did. But I can't really make a definite consensus off of that, because of the difference in the lime spreading, the inputs, not having soil samples and things like that. So we're just going to chalk it up to a loss and move forward. Let's see. You weren't beat until you quit. I will. I'll never. I don't think I'll ever quit, Mr. Bryce. I like that. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna stumble, but I'm not gonna fall. I know my boundaries, and sometimes you live above your means, and I think that's what I did with corn. I thought that I could cut the corners going with conventional corn, and beat the odds, and do it like the old guys did. And the difference is, it can be done. It's still done today, and it's done, very profitable. But I don't have the experience level. So when you don't have the experience level, you can't pretend to know something that you don't. And then some of my lack of confidence about making decisions, and corn is just not the crop that you need to start out with to make not to make valuable decisions, in my opinion. So, and it's bit me, but again, I'm so glad that I did this with corn that was, $85 a bag versus $285 a bag. So, you guys do the math on that versus, upfront pre-emerge and fertilizing. That's it. So I'm not too bad off on the corn, even though it looks awful. Let's see. Mr. Powell says you wanted to make money. Corn, maize, and sunflowers may be a better choice. I hear you. It's too dry for my rye to sprout. Too dry. I wish I could send you some rain, Mr. Will. Paul Case Pumpkin Patch. Mr. Pete, I Nelson, I agree the small square bell is probably good. It is, Mr. Pete, honestly, I was blown out of the water with a repeat customer from last year. He wants 500 to 600 bales, no questions asked. I mean, just if I can make it, he'll take it. And, for better money than what I've been selling it. My other couple of repeat customers want a lot more, and they have options other for, the feed for the small grains. I've had a lot of straw customers this year that contacted me that I had put feelers out that I didn't make enough straw. I mean, I did. I sold it quick. They want it. So I think my best bang for my buck is that. That leads into other things with, equipment. I think my best bet is going to be to try to find another used decent baler for right now, so I have a backup. If I could have double of everything and get my mechanization down to where I can do it myself and have a place to store it without having to touch it 2 or 3 times and keep moving, I think I can. I'm not going to say I'm going to beat the weather, but I think I can do a lot better with the daily job and my weather. So, South Texas, Mr. Lewis says, Paul, there's corn, maize in our area, standing room only. There's actually a farm here that does pumpkins and sunflowers and the corn, maize, and all, and it's just a small couple acre deal. But I went by there the other Saturday, and you can even get in the parking lot. So John Hayes says hay is a good option. I think so too, Mr. John. Honestly, for right now, I mean, I'm not going to say I do good at that, but I've had the best luck with that. So I'm going to put my emphasis where what little bit of experience I'm gaining has been, and I've definitely been doing hay since day one on here. You don't need 100. I know. And Andy, with the 117-day corn, that was again that's my inexperience speaking. And I was told by a very good mentor. I can't mention any names because I've embarrassed him very, very bad. But exactly what to do, and a detailed game plan that probably would have had a bumper crop on my end, other than the weather related issues. But I completely and totally turned my back on that because I thought I could beat the odds by going the cheap route. And, you guys know that corn, you just can't, regardless, conventional, whatever else. And I didn't know enough detail about, the 117 day, and that variety with the conventional was what was the most robust. And I think it did well with the drought. It's very drought tolerant. But also, this variety has a very bad reputation of dry down, and I was seeing that, I think, in the just in the moisture samples already compared to what's around me. So definitely, you're right there. Mr. Van says you want to grow corn, dump a godly amount of money into fertilizer and good. Well, true, and I'm not going to say I'm not giving up on corn. Don't get me wrong there at all. I will revert back to it because if nothing else, I want to walk away and say I did the best I can and I failed, or something like that. But I'm not going to say that I failed. I failed at what I did, but it's more my fault than it is Mother Nature or anything else. Lack of experience and lack of attention to detail on a crop that really requires all the above, and my experience. Let's see. Ron Fisher being over. Hey Nelson. Hey Mr. Ron, how are you? Trying to watch, but the internet is bad. I understand that totally. I've had all kinds of issues when I first started live stream. I'm dropping people off like flies. So we're down to 15. Mr. Mr. Pete says, "Don't sweat about the too high population. I figure I'm going to take some out." Well, and that was the other thing about my cultivation. That okay, so that's really what started it all with the lack of attention on the corn. I planted the crooked rows. You all saw that in the beginning because of the way my row markers were. So it was going to be a nightmare to try to get the cultivator down it. Now, what I would have taken out with the cultivator and tractor tires would have been a lot better than the weeds I ended up with. So I know I should have went ahead and done that. So we went to the other side to try to redeem myself, up the population. I got the rows pretty straight. Well, then it quit raining. So then I was worried about, what to do. And by the time I got everything situated, cultivators ready to go down there to cultivate, it was too high. So, I mean, it just, again, lack of experience on that all the way around the board. Mr. Bryce talking to Pete. Let's see, there's never a failure in farming. Farmers only lessons, mothers are great. That's exactly right, Mr. Ben. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, there will be corn that runs through Glenda. And to me, you guys have been following me from the beginning. You know that that's been my dream. And to say that I had a 14-foot bush hog, an old International 414, and the 1086 basically in Oliver, clearing fields, and to say I raised corn to the point where I can run something to a combine. And that's been a road of hard knocks there. I'm proud. I really am. I mean, I'm not embarrassed. I told you guys I would show you or bring you along for all of it, good, bad, and ugly in the very beginning. I wasn't going to hide anything. So, I hesitated on the video just because there's going to be a whole lot of I told you so, situations. But, if the shoe fits, you have to wear it. If you have to eat crow by the bucketful, you do. And it was, like I said, majority of my fault. So we'll take the lessons I learned, get a little better prepared, set myself up a little better, get some money flow going back into where, because money, I'm not going to say is always an option, but corn requires quite a bit right then, and you don't have a time frame to say, oh, well, let me hoard up a little money, or let me sell this piece of equipment or whatever. You've got to do it right then, and you need to be prepared at the beginning of the season versus doing it on the fly. And I learned that really, really quick, which I was told again and didn't listen, but we're learning. Vintage Farm, so I'm still watching. Thank you, Mr. Monty. You guys are amazing. I think there's 16, 21 thumbs up, so I'm not going to complain one bit. I do like that, Mr. Ben, as far as the your quote there about your granddad. Evan says, I was always told that if you're never failing, you aren't. But that's my philosophy, Evan, honestly, is that, I want to go through life and say that I tried it and I gave it my best and it didn't work, rather than always wondering what if. And so, I said that in the last video that there won't be any soybeans. The only time I think I'll plant soybeans is if I do some kind of go up there in the woods and do a deer plot for maybe something for them to eat, because they really put a hurting on it. And all you guys know that there's nothing you can really do about the deer, but you've got to understand that my farm is in the city limits and they're building around me left and right, so they're all coming to one area. And I knew that going into this, but once I created a food source, which they absolutely love, then it just made it that much worse. So they're going to eat me out of house and home. So I don't think beans is a viable option because of my selling aspect. That's 40 miles away trip. I don't have the whole grain system and hauling system set up to make that worthwhile for what little bit I'm going to end up with, that they don't eat me out of house and home. So they can do damage, and they will, to the wheat and to the oats, but not near as catastrophic as it comes to corn and soybeans, and a lot less expensive on the input aspect of that for the return from my area anyway. Let's see. What does Evan say? It takes a lot of guts to learn something from scratch and post a learning process. Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And, it's, I'll be honest, you guys are truly amazing when it comes to the following, because, there's a lot of channels that have, came along after me that I've had my hand in helping, and they've just exploded because they're what I consider real farmers. I mean, they know what they're doing. They're growing acres, they're doing this, they're doing that. A lot of them are better at editing skills and, videography and stuff like that. But my goal in the very beginning was to capture the reclaim of my grandfather's and ancestors' farm from what it had been neglected to after 20 plus years to growing crops. And I knew that was going to be a long road. I mean, working on the equipment, fabricating stuff, making things work, that's my forte. That's not a problem at all. The The problem is that your time is split between doing that and then trying to learn how to farm. So I'm good at that, but then when it comes to the farming aspect, it's like my mind goes completely blank. But why hide all of it? Because there might be somebody out there that's considering not doing something because they're scared of the outcome. And if they can learn from my mistakes or say, hey, that guy did it and failed and, laughed about it in a sense, then hey, I've done what I wanted to do. My family's watched, the farm grow back into production basically because we are in production. I mean, I'm selling grain, I'm selling wheat, I'm selling straw, I'm selling hay, and I'm going to sell corn. So, I'm not going to complain at all about that. But the support you guys give is amazing. And I'm saying that from the fact that I don't have a whole lot of, thank goodness, negativity floating around the channel. I'm open-minded to all of it. I was told in the last video by, I think there was a couple comments, probably the first ones I've had in a long time, that, looked like a complete and total waste of time. And I think the other one was something about, that farming's not for me. And I'm not going to disagree with either one. I mean, I'm not going to say that the corn was a waste of time, but, time will tell. And maybe farming's not for me, but I'm not going to walk away from it until I can say that I gave it 150%. And, we're just now starting to farm, so definitely stay tuned for more. Let's see where we are. Buffalo Elite, you could always sell some bologna, jerky, collard grass. I hear you. That's right, Brian, for sure. John Hayes, that was my problem. What was, John? The deer? I missed something. Organic, non-GMO venison. AJ, don't feel bad. I'm going to be trying to experiment corn next year. It's called short stature corn, 4 foot short. I tell you, and that's another thing too that let me explain that a little bit. So I was tickled to death, all throughout the summer when I had like 11-foot tall corn. I mean, just amazing. I was tickled to death. Well, I'm not using it for the silage aspect, for the tonnage, so that's just more material I've got to run through the combine. So, I figured out real quick that your corn doesn't have to be huge and tall to produce decent ears, and that's just less material you have to run through. So I mean, it's a learning curve all the way around the board. I mean, it really is to me. So I've enjoyed it, and I'm going to continue to enjoy it, and we're definitely going to revert back to it. I just hope the next time you see, and I'm not going to say this. Somebody mentioned that in the last video in the comments that I might end up. I've got, I think, a bucket and a half left of the hybrid 85. And I'm not going to say that I won't plant, 6, 8, 10 rows of it and really just something I can walk up and down with a hoe and, a hand seeder, whatever the case may be, and just really put the stuff to it and see if it makes any difference. See how bad it does. Might even put a fence around it since it's a small place and just really, really get an idea. The Roundup Ready corn that you can spray would definitely be easier, but I'm not smart enough and don't know enough yet about it to see if that's going to be cost effective for my return. I mean, like Luke and Ruth Farms, I mean, with his bagging operation and, having 3 or 4 or 5 people being able to help him do that. I mean, it's just goes. So that's easy, quick money, selling it like wildfire, and deer hunters will buy it. But that's the other thing that, I got to figure in with the deer hunters is, can I keep them happy? They're going to, cause around my area, I mean, deer corn's on every corner. So of course I was going to, go in the market a little bit lower because of my input, but am I going to be able to satisfy that customer base, or they're going to go somewhere else? So it's just up and down. So some lessons are more expensive. They are, Mr. Paul. They truly are. They truly are. John said, yes, dear. They are, Mr. John. I mean, it's unreal. I think it was Mr. Pete that said, lead is about the only option. And it is. I mean, when most farmers, and I hear, I don't watch huge channels. I mean, I watch the Lampley brothers and Thomas Farms, Russ, and Dylan Joyce, and of course Luke, people like that on a regular basis. And, when you have 20, 30, 40 acre fields and the deer come in and ravage, 2 or 3 acres of it, I mean, it's a cut to the bottom line, don't get me wrong, but you can still, if you have a good year, you can still kind of, I'm not saying make up for any loss, but you're not devastated with that. Where my fields are 2 or 3 acres apiece. So if they come in and eat it like they have, I'm back to square one. So we're going to see, and that's the other thing too with the how do I word this? And everyone was watching the deer evaluation. We'll put it that way. Over the next year or so, we'll see how that tends to work out, because that is something that is very new here. So we'll see how they react to that before I go put too much more in corn. I mean, I know they're going to eat everything. The wildlife is abundance at IP Farms. I planted my hayfield the other day, and you would have thought it was the old 70s movies, Attack of the Birds or whatever it was, because it was like they came from miles around and landed in the field right off the bat. Okay, but if channel gets too polished, I lose interest. Well, thank you for that, Mr. Bryce. And that's another thing. I mean, I'm not gonna. It's not an advertisement. Uh, it's not a production for me. I don't care about the fancy thumbnails. I don't care about this. I mean, I use the same free editing program I did after 531 videos is what I have on my channel with a little over 2,500 subscribers, which thank you for that. But I use the same free editor. I don't care to grow in that aspect because it's not about that to me. It's about conveying to the next person what you can do if you put your mind to it. You may not always succeed at it. You may not be profitable at it. You may not be good at it. But if you put your mind to anything in life, you can most of the time take it by the horns. And especially when you have, some of you guys that really take the time to, critique a few points and give me some ideas on what to do, what not to do. Tell me I should have done this, should have done that, answer the silly questions I have. So that's been a blessing for sure. Let's see. Far away from, don't listen to naysayers. Do they have video? Well, that's kind of true. I live by, I tell my guys at work, the guys that work for me, that I've been around good friends with, I tell them, sometimes you just have to consider the source, and that goes in, consider where I call it chin music is coming from. So that's where it is. I mean, I don't mind telling anybody, I'm saved by the good Lord above, and, I try to do everything on the up and up. I fall short every day, but I try to treat everything with a smile. And there's always going to be somebody that's not going to be happy. You can't keep everybody happy. So I do the best I can and let the rest go. You guys that have been with me from the beginning, and some of you newer ones, the support is unreal. I say that all the time. I really appreciate that. It makes it fun because it gets boring up there by myself, and that's one reason why I talk so much, because I feel like I'm talking to all of you at one time. I'm sure you get tired of it, but we still got 22 in here, so that's amazing. Let's see. Brian says Muffler delete something about going from corn to the first year always makes waste. Papa said would always plow it in the fall district. Yeah, and that's another thing too. I mean, weed seeds. And I know Mr. Jeff said that in the comments last video. I mean, I did. I put I put the extra. Popeye spinach on the weeds for not taking care of them, but I woke a lot up that had been suppressed by the hay ground for years. I mean, don't get me wrong, they were grown up with trees and debris and stuff like that, but I kept up with it pretty good with the bush hog and the hay equipment. So once I turned that soil over, it really woke up some, and then I wasn't ready to keep them at bay. But now the wheat did great because the wheat outgrew the weeds. I mean, once it came up in the spring and everything, I mean, until it got to the point, I really should have cut the wheat probably about 2 or 3 weeks before I did, and I would have been able to cut it lower and get more straw because the grass wouldn't have been in there. So again, unprepared. I mean, y'all saw me working on that header right up to the point I put it into the wheat field. So now in the future, the grain drill is ready. It's ready to go. Pump the tires up, and I can plant oats and I can plant wheat with that. The cultipacker's ready. My discs are good. I can put blender right in the field. I mean, I know what the settings need to be. The header's ready. So, all that's a step above. One less thing I've got to worry about where I wasn't ready with corn on that. Let's see. Paul says, Bryce, you should have seen my first attempt at Bailage. Better than stand-up comedy. Well, that's another thing. At least you guys can get a kick out of things here, too. If you get, Dylan told me one time that he, enjoys watching, because it's the same old. Sometimes you guys do it day in and day out with the farming, and I know that it probably gets monotonous, but here it's like a box of chocolates. One day you're working on the truck, one day we're trying to farm, one day we're looking at weeds. So and that's the variety it is, because you can only do so much that keeps everybody interested. I just hopefully that you guys get some entertainment out of my debacles most of the time, we'll say. Mr. Van says, man, that's your biggest thing as a farmer is learning. You got to keep learning. There's something new. There's something new with agriculture every day, new practices, cheap ways of doing stuff. You got that. And that's true. And I think I was told a long time ago that if you ever quit learning, whether it be in your career, your job, or your daily activities, I know it all, or I know what I need to do to get by, then that's when it'll bite you. And I'm not going to say that I went that route, but I really felt like that I could beat the odds. And, if I was building a motor or doing some structural welding or something like that and went a different route than the norm, I might could have won with it because I kind of know what I'm doing, but not knowing any more than I did about corn and what it took and what it needs other than what people had told me, um, I failed on that aspect of it. But again, trial by fire. I used to say it all the time, trial by fire with me, and I'm hard headed. So, yeah, it's easy to plant Roundup Ready corn and go out there and spray it, whatever else, as far as, I'm not saying that's easy. I shouldn't have said that. I'm saying that um, that might have been easy for me, and then, well, did I do this right? Did I do that wrong? Whatever. So I went the most unconventional method ever with corn, as far as attempting to cultivate it, do this, do that, and put seed in the ground and not have anything prepared and ready, and thinking I was going to beat the odds, and it went right the opposite way. So very valuable lessons that my hard head won't ever make the same mistakes on again, I can assure you. And learn from that, Mr. Ben says. I like that sort of show, Paul. I was raised primitive. AJ says, but I can give you credit, at least you know how to grow a crop and survive, unlike so many people in the country who have no clue to make a garden even work. Thank you for that, AJ. I really appreciate that. Evan says, I've taught myself for years when I'm working now. I know I was practicing for YouTube all these years and didn't even know it. Isn't that something? And I think I've said this before, Evan, in a previous past video, but I used to do a lot of heavy catfishing and catfishing tournaments with a couple of buddies I worked with. And, he had a GoPro and started out, and I absolutely would not be on camera. I mean, it kind of ruined the whole, we started a channel with that. It kind of ruined it all because, I was always involved. There were, most of the time, my boats and their experience with the fishing, and, we had a good time. But I was always in the camera if they were trying to do any work, and I would say, no, don't post that. And then we pick about it because we still work together today. That, in return now, I'm the one that's always posting videos and talking to the camera. So, you guys know I'm no shortage of things to say most of the time. Now, whether they're intelligent or smart or the right things to say, there's no shortage of words with me for sure. I like these live streams. I get to talk all the time. Let's see. Mr. Bryce says small grain was part of our crop rotation, choked with these. And I agree with that. And that's something else, Mr. Bryce, as far as I want to see how the fields react to that. I mean, I may have a oat field or wheat field full of weeds as well, but I don't think so because I saw how well the weeds grew after I harvested the wheat versus how well they were suppressed when the wheat was in the ground. So I think from my aspect, that'll be a good test to see, how bad or how easy the weed suppression will be in that. I am thinking about some high dollar, I'll just say it, alfalfa, and some real high dollar alfalfa, just a little bit of it just to see, some Roundup Ready actually, and see how that goes. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to get bashed for that too, but I don't know, it's very interesting. I want to do a little bit more testing, and I want to do a little bit more testing on things that not necessarily for money returns, but just to see what my fit is going to be. Maybe corn isn't the fit for me with the size fields I have. I mean, with a crop that is that expensive, I don't really see how you can make money, honestly, make a whole lot of money with, 6 to 8 to 9 acres of corn. Maybe you can. I'm not saying you can't, but we're going to push the envelope. We'll see over the next couple of years and see what works. But I'm not going to put all the eggs in one basket. I don't think there will ever be one exclusive crop again that I have to wait on and see completely get taken over. We'll have a variety anyway. So we'll see on that. I've been following a lot of which is Bermuda, but Outcast Farms. Gosh, I can't think of her name right now. But she was talking. They've been doing a lot about that Resilon, and there's a whole lot of things I want to learn about the whole hay aspect as well. Not that I know anything at all about that, because basically I've been mowing and cutting weeds. I'm not going to say that I'm going to try to do $8 or $9 or $10 or $12 hay with horse customers, because I don't really have that. But the customers I have are kind of middle of the road, if you will, and they're amazing. I mean, some of them drive, upwards of 50 or 60 miles, and I've never had a complaint on any uh, person that's gotten the hay as far as their animals not enjoying it. So doing something right on that aspect, and basically no no input on that as well. But I know that the more I take off, I'm taking stuff out as well versus the bush hogging. So it's a whole balance beam there, learning curve again. Get back to reading comments. Let's see. Ron Fisher, keep doing what you're doing. I enjoy what. Thank you very much, Mr. Ron. I appreciate that. I hope to get down there one day soon. I've told the wife maybe on return back from the beach trip or something, swing up through there, and there's a couple more down your way that I want to stop in and say hello. Mr. Daniels, actually saw him when I was picking up a piece of equipment one day. Went right by his place, and I didn't realize it until after the fact. But let's see. Brian says the video the other day had me laughing. Wonder if this old dump truck will run. It's been about a year. Toss the battery in, it fires off. Yeah, yeah. And there again, Brian. That's like another one of those projects. It's like I got the carburetor kit in. I had Carl asked me to do a video on that. Thought it would be interesting about rebuilding the carburetor. So like I said, one day you're going to get weedy corn and harvest, and one day you're working on the combine. Next day you might get rebuilding the carburetor. But that's as far as that project's gotten. Which I had to do something with the front. It was very hard not to plant the winter wheat this year, but I'm going to do oats in the spring. I'm not sure which field yet, and then I think I'll rotate out the oats and the winter wheat off and on the series of how you plant it, and then possibly maybe put in some brome grass or something maybe. And kind of mix that up a little bit and see. I mean, I know the hay fields are going to be hay fields for 3 or 4 years at least at bare minimum, and it may be that I wind up with 100% hay ground. I don't think so, because I do have too much of a call for the small grains and the straw, and I really enjoy that. I mean, I really enjoy that whole aspect, because it kind of it takes me back to my roots and my grandfather. I mean, he mowed a lot of hay on that farm with a 2N or 9N. I can't remember which it is. Belly sickle mower, and he had people bale it, but he mowed many an acre with that, and it kind of takes me back. So if I can harvest grain and run a combine like I've always wanted to, and then turn around and run a baler through it and stack it and put it in the same barn he did 40 plus years ago, then that's what it's all about with his legacy and reclaim to me. So let's see. Mr. Paul said, do you still have the 180? I think you'd really screw. Yes, I do, Mr. Paul. And I was thinking about that, especially after so the Ford doesn't have hydraulics on it, doesn't have remote, so I can't cut with it. And the baler's almost too much for it. I don't mean that in a sense. People baled with 268s and 269s with 3,000, 3,600, 4,000 Ford. I actually cut my teeth with a good friend of mine. Him and his dad, they had a 3,600 Ford and a 4,000. The 4,000 stayed on the baler, which is a bigger tractor, don't get me wrong, but I think theirs was a 273, if I'm not mistaken. I was baling when I was 13, 14 years old with them. But it rocks that little 3,000 quite a bit, and I don't want to do any more damage than I have to. It rakes really good, but on the same token, the 165 has the ground driven PTO, which absolutely works phenomenal with my 3-point setup on the rake. So I don't feel as though it warrants me getting a much bigger rake in the future, because I can jump windrows, I can make them. I have an unconventional method until I learn. So I was thinking about that the other day, that I need to put the 180 on the baler and possibly the cutter, and then just keep the 165 for the rake, or the 3,000 for the rake, one of the two, whichever. So I do still have it, and I was thinking about that, because I think the corn planter is going to be getting a little dust on it in the shed for the next year or two anyway. Evan says, I've heard about most of the big farms only net about $20 per acre profit. We made decent money off 3-acre field of corn, but the price was good and our expense. Well, and that's the key. I think, Evan, is the amount of cost that it had, because corn is so expensive to raise per acre. So that's that fine balance being versus hundreds of thousands of dollars for hundreds of acres of input versus small acres. How much do you put in it versus your return? I think that it would be the most profitable if I would check into selling my corn over there at the the I don't know what I want to say, I want to say elevator, whatever it is, but the place that the corn is at my, because like I said, it's like 2 miles away. So, but I've heard different things with that sometimes, if they need corn, they'll take it anytime, 24 hours a day. And then other times I've heard that they can be, very wishy-washy about, especially with people with small and, stuff like that. So I'm not going to say it's not going to be profitable at all. With the amount of guys that, were wanting the deer corn this year, I think I could definitely do it and make money. But again, putting the cart before the horse, I'm going to get better prepared on storage. I'm going to be able to cut it at the soonest I can cut it, because I can see that already this weather pattern is going to mess me up as far as, if I didn't have the problem with the weeds, it would be hard to get in there right now, having to wait as low as I need to be able to store it. So that's where we are on that. Let's see. Mr. Rice said I'm probably going to drop out 8 p.m. So thank you very much, Mr. Rice, for stopping in. I really appreciate it. Try to do a little bit later for you guys. We're at 51 minutes. We're probably going for another 10 or 15 minutes. We'll see how many people are in. Thank you, though, for stopping by. I hope you have a good evening. There's Adam. Thank you, Adam. Good evening. How are you? Luke's in. Nothing. I knew you were busy. It's a busy time of year. It says you're bagging corn. I did talk about you earlier on your bagging system, and prayers for, the Bowers family for sure. Nothing. I'm just babbling as usual, making excuses for why my corn looks so bad. Mom Strunkle says, hello, everyone. Hello, how are you? I think I missed Mark. Let's see. Let me go back. I'm going back in the comments. Bear with me, guys. And my dog's having a fit in there with the wife. Seemed like I saw. Maybe I didn't. Let's see. I thought I saw Mr. Mark earlier. Mr. Bryce is talking to him. Okay, if I missed you, Mr. Mark, I apologize. I really like your bagging setup. Yes, that is Terry. That is awesome, actually. I haven't been down there to get to see it. I mean, you think as close as we are, I would. I haven't seen it, but he's definitely got the setup and the system. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but she's playing with her in there. She's going crazy. Crusader 22. Is that Randy? Is that you? I can't remember. Hey, Bryce. Mr. Matt just stopped by to say hi. Thank you, Mr. Matt. I appreciate that. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. Maybe electric fence around the corner option. They do like they do. Yeah, and that's what I've thought about that, Brian, as far as, some kind of fence. And I think my best bang for the buck on corn would be to do that with a fence and do it in smaller proportions, if you will, and try that, see how good it works. Somebody else mentioned that in a comment, I think, last video, about something with fishing line and different, like 2 different fences. I'm going to read up on more of that. We're going to see how the control aspect works with the newness of the whole deer population over the next this season and next season, and then we'll go from there. Vintage Farms, Mr. Monty, I'm going to head out. Thank you, Mr. Monty. Really appreciate you being here. Thank y'all guys for sticking around. Nothing but farmland here in Michigan. Oh, you are. That's right. You are up there in Michigan, aren't you, Randy? That's right. Okay. Send me some pictures for sure. For sure. I thought that was you. I'm dropping out. Everyone have a good evening. Thank you, Mr. Pete. I really appreciate that. We still got 24 thumbs up. Really appreciate that, guys. So if any of you are still here and got any questions, let me know. I think that to go back to the hay aspect, I didn't talk about too much the mechanization. One reason I want to concentrate more on what I know I can do and is easier and I'm set up for is because this winter I'm going to have to do some extensive shed building. We've definitely got to build a lean-to back on the back of the barn where, me and Gordon tore that down, or basically Gordon did for me. And I'm hoping to possibly be able to get Glenda back there and the 1086 and then the loader. If I get the loader out of the barn, then we can finish the section up on the barn, and then I can use the lean-tos where the combine and 1086 sit now to have for hay storage, meaning either on wagons or baskets. And I'm thinking I'm going to go with baskets. That would probably be my best bet because most of my customers are waiting on me to get it baled. So if I know ahead of time, I think those things hold somewhere around 80, anywhere between 70 and 90 bales maybe on one of those baskets. If they want to come get it, then, I can have a strategic place and just store it in the shed. It's not tight, so it gets air through it, and then pull it out, basically dump it and let them load it right on the truck. Or if, it gets to the point to where I don't have customers coming, at least I'll have options to, bale what I can bale and go put it in the shed, go bale me another one, put it in the shed, and then, the next day or raining or what. I mean, I can back a basket into the barn and dump it and put that in the loft with it pouring down rain outside. So, that's an option I have. So I'm really thinking about the baskets more so than I am a kicker. Mainly because I think with a kicker, I don't think my OCD would allow that. I mean, it would just drive me nuts. If one of them hit the wrong way and twisted the bale sideways, it would just drive me nuts. So, which I'm not going to say that's not going to happen with a bale basket, especially dumping them out. But that's what I'm leaning more towards right now. So I've got to get some storage to be able to get loaded baskets inside. And I don't know how many, bales of hay I'm going to have. I hope that you guys will enjoy the video where I replanted the front field, and I'll let you in on that. It really worked out, except for the fact that the hurricane came through. So I don't know how bad it's washed. Of course, you always take that chance, but we didn't get near as much rain as what I thought we were going to get. And it was kind of, there was some hard bursts at different times. I went out there the first night that it rained when we got 1.5 inches, and it washed a little bit. So, we'll see on that. I had to broadcast the seed, but let's see, a couple of us talking here. Paul, I used to fill a few 40 semi-trailers, 340 men, and pulled them to the field. That's not a bad option. I'm looking at, like I said, Mr. Paul, just something. I've got a lot of guys that I work with. I've got some other guys that are willing to, help out as far as, stacking or helping me get it up. But to drop it on the ground and then turn around and pick it back up and get it to the barn, then unload it, and then have to do the elevator. I mean, you guys understand the elevator. I mean, I didn't get any video of it, but putting the bale on and running up to the top, unloading it, and back down on the ladder, I mean, that's not the best scenario. So at least with baskets, I could load them, and I may have to buy 4, 5, 6 baskets over the course of next year or the year after. And if I've got a place to back those in out of the weather, then I can schedule some help to come once the hay is up and out of the field and in the dry to stack it if nobody's coming after it. Let's see, Adam says those hay baskets might be hard to find, but I did love it. Actually, that's something that is not way overpriced here in North Carolina. There's not a lot of them. I mean, most I think the ones I've looked at are in Virginia. But they're modestly priced. I mean, it's not bad, honestly. I would have expense in kicker wagons, of course, building them, or some that's already there. So that's what we're going to shoot for. Now that's subject to change, of course. I may end up just making a hay wagon or something and hiring somebody to drive the tractor to stack bales. But I think, fingers crossed, that we're going to have a whole lot more hay production next year. I don't know that the first year with my new hay field will be the greatest that I just planted, nor the other ones, but we'll see how much we got and go from there. Evan says you need a New Holland stack ladder. My buddy that I was just talking about a while ago, I don't know if he's on here or not, but that I learned to run baler and tractor with years and years and years ago. I actually called me the other day and asked me if I wanted to buy their stacker, and it was a tremendously good price. And if I had the money, I would have bought it in a heartbeat, honestly. Now again, that would have been building a shed and whatever, but limitations, and with my OCD and my silly ways, I mean, I don't know how that would be. I mean, I feel like this is how bad it is. I feel like that if I did that and I ran the building and put a wagon full, set it up, and if those bales weren't perfect, that I would spend more time trying to fix them and make them perfect in my own mind than I would going out and getting another load. So, but anyway, it sold in like a day with the price he had. It was amazing. I should have, regardless. Let's see, Root Farm, appreciate it, Ron. I think we have a pretty good setup. What do you think, corn? Yes, you do have a very good setup, Luke. I mean, that's some of the really, honestly, I mean, all around the board, the corn storage, your late model combine that you can do with. You've had phenomenal luck with, your crops doing corn. I think, what did you say, last year was your first year, and then just the whole setup. I mean, that's amazing. The family and your conveyor and that's really nice setup. Really nice. Um, when I think it'll be ready, I haven't checked the moisture, but at this point, I'm honestly thinking that it's just going to be a loss, and I'm just going to wait till it completely frosts and kills everything, and the ground gets hard enough for me to get out there. It's I creek bottom stuff, so I don't think the creek got out with all this rain we've had. But I was down there first of the week with just a little bit of rain we've had, and I had 6-8 inches of water standing in the bottom different places, so it's going to be a nightmare trying to run a combine through. But I'm working on some of it by hand. The deer are working on it, of course. So I don't know. We're gonna get something out of it. It might be Christmas time, like you were saying, because there are a whole lot of them that's turned down. Uh, Mr. Paul says, "Have you ever seen a bale sweep?" A video of one I had, and would pile them up, set them down where you want. The loader on 10A6 would work on it. No, I don't think I've bale sweep. I'll have to. So you got it on your channel? I'll have to go back and look at that, Mr. Paul. No, I've been thinking. I've got some uneven terrain to get me from field to barn. So I'm not the best. I'm rusty as I'll get out at stacking. I'll have to say, I mean, I spent a lot of time on a wagon, but, um, I did spend a lot of time in the tractor seat as well. So I don't have as much experience stacking as I probably do driving a tractor. But I was just thinking that, with the uneven terrain, the kicker missing the wagon or whatever, which I'm not sure how these baskets work on uneven terrain. I mean, I think they work pretty decent from what I've seen, but it could possibly be that that might be the best scenario as far as safety aspect for me, not losing a bale, not whatever, and then just the ease of saying I can dump it out, because even with a kicker, I've still got to do something about getting it out of there and getting it up in the barn. So then that's me myself moving it out of the barn, moving it over to the conveyor and then up in the loft. Whereas with the dump wagon, at least, or the basket, at least I can just dump it out and I haven't touched it. And the first time I put it on the elevator will be the first time that it goes up. But a grapple and things like that are definitely in the future wish list, I should say, if hay production continues on. My main thing right now is a way to do it by myself and to get some backups, because I lost a really good crop of hay last year because my knotter system went all to pieces on my bale and I didn't have a backup. Luke offered to for me to come get his, but he bales so much straw and stuff, I didn't want to take a chance on messing up his. But so I think backup plans and extra parts where that's concerned, which is anything, will be my best bet with that. So we'll see. Let's see. What can I tell you? 6 years. Well, I guess I missed the whole. No, you didn't. I've just been babbling, Chris. Not at all. I've just been babbling about everything, honestly. Luke says you'll need to keep an eye out this year. As wet as it is, I have some corn sprouting. Yeah, I feel like that, that's going to be my next battle, Luke, as far as not being able to get it out because it's going too wet, and then the rest of it's going to start growing. I mean, it's just. No, I'll tell you, it was hard not to run the bush hog to it the other day and just go ahead and plant another field of hay. But we did it. We're going to make the best out of it, and I'm going to make myself fight these weeds and mud and everything else, whether it's Christmas or New Year's or Valentine's Day, and remember how bad I messed it up with neglecting my corn. SLC said, "Oh, hey Brian, how are you? Thank you, man. I really appreciate you stopping in. How'd y'all fare in that hurricane? I think you were, let's say, you're further east though, I think. Hopefully it didn't hit you too bad. You got a lot of flooding out of the last one." Bob says, "With your fab skills, you can build a bale accumulator that we have several bales in one spot." That's true. Dylan, a good friend of mine, Dylan Hockaday here, B&H Farms, that I do a lot of trading with, he just actually bought one of those fancy, I don't know what you call it, but where the bales like go up and they come down and it makes them and then it drops them out, because he has an accumulator on a skid loader. And, something like that. And I've even thought too, I mean, if I did make some kind of accumulator, I have that trailer, that would be, at least I could get them up in the trailer and then push them so far back. But we're going to see how the first year goes. Like I said, I'm hoping, I told most of my customers that there won't be much field pickup anymore, mainly because I almost got in trouble this last time. I bailed it the night before or the afternoon before, and being the last cutting of the season for me, it had a little bit of dampness in it the next day. It was fine as far as moisture inside, but I didn't like it. I flipped it all over and let it sit and get the dampness off of it. So I don't really like that, and it's so hard to schedule because they come from like 55 miles away, so it's hard to schedule exactly. And then if they're on their way and I have a catastrophic failure with my baler like I did that year before, and I don't have a backup, so I think we're just all going to do it out of the barn. I told them the price would increase, of course. We'll work with them, over the first couple of years, but so far it's looking pretty promising. We'll see what grows in the front. I took most of my hay ground that I had and turned it into crops, but we put the front field back. So, if you guys are still here, definitely tune in Sunday. Let me know what you think. I was tickled to death with the way it worked out. My buddy helped me. Got to use every tractor in the fleet. I love that, and really went well. I mean, I would love to have been able to, drill that in a sense, but I don't have seed boxes on my drill, and it broadcasted really, really nice, and I got it covered up. I just don't know how much it got washed away with 3.5 inches of rain this week, but it is what it is. Adam says, I've heard of something like that. I think it was called Rocket Mountain Bale Sweep. I had no complaints about the hay basket. I pulled it in some pretty. Okay, well, I appreciate that, Adam. Thank you. That's really what I'm leaning towards. I mean, that's a quick money making situation for me. I've got the extended chute on for my baler. It's got the hitch on it. I've looked around. I found a couple other 268s, a couple of 273s that are pretty cheap. That's one thing that's decently cheap in my area. If I can get another one that works, then hopefully I can have a backup and then just start accumulating some parts. And then if hay does go well, then I'll definitely upgrade to a higher capacity. I mean, probably I think my next step would be a 276, the higher capacity there. But we'll just have to see. I'm curious to see how much hay I make with what I can put into it. Paul says not enough rain here to call corn brown the cob. Yeah, it's just been so wild this year with the weather. I mean, we had such that drought, and then it was like 7 or 8 inches of rain we had within the next month after the drought, and then it seems like that's all it's done here. And then my ground is not the best draining down there where they did all that sewer work, so it's definitely going to stay wet for a while. Let's see. Adam says, "Dang autocorrect giving me grief." I hear you. Hat Creek Farm, hello there. How are y'all faring through the hurricane? We did great actually in here in the Piedmont, Greensboro, Charlotte, Winston area of North Carolina. It was very fast moving. It hit hard this morning, lots of wind, lots of rain, a few trees down here or there, some power outages, but it seemed like as soon as it got bad, it went off, and then the sun came out, and this, Lord gave us a promise of another day, because I know it hit the southern, Gulf Coast quite a bit. And I know there was a lot of casualties, so prayers go out for those. But we did actually pretty good here in my part of North Carolina, thank goodness. Like I said earlier, I think right at 1.5 inches of rain at the farm, so it wasn't bad at all. I think I got a lot more of that here at the house than I did at the farm. SLC said, Brian says, floodwater's finally moving out, not quite as bad as last. I remember seeing those videos of that last time. Well, that's good to hear, Brian. Glad y'all fared well with that. I know got hit quite a bit down that way. Let's see. Paul says Rocky Mountain Bale Sweep, right? With one of those, Nelson could put up a couple hundred in a couple hours and never touch one. Rocky Mountain Bale Sweep. Now you've got me on. I'm gonna have to go look for that, Mr. Paul. How many squares do y'all do per year? Very low, very, very low. I think the most I've turned off, and granted, again, I don't know that I've talked to you before, maybe new, but this is a whole learning curve and process. When I first got the baler until today, I think I figured it up the other day. I think I might have made 670 bales over the last 2 years, I think it is, and that's what most people get out of one cutting. But it definitely got cut down this year. I didn't make, but let's see, I made 137 or something on the last cut, and the first cut was like 80, so I didn't make hardly at all. Of course, all my fields were in corn, but we're gonna change that really quick. Brent says, "Hi, Nelson, forgot you." No problem, Mr. Brent. Thank you very much for stopping in. I really appreciate that. it's getting on up there. I'm getting long-winded. We're at an hour and 10 minutes, I think. We've still got 17 in, so might wrap it up here in a few minutes. Let's see. Tonight's Friday night. I don't have to work tomorrow, though. I don't know. We might go a little bit longer. Depends on how many of you guys want to stick around. I know it's probably, which I'm an hour. Let's see. I'm an hour later than most of you that follow me. Let's see. Adam says, "Yep, Paul, autocorrect is making me frustrated."
It's been long enough.
We've only gotten 2 inches. Most of the rain. As soon as it dries, I'm gonna cut. I hear you. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm hoping. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I just, like I said, I planted my new hayfield for next year, and I hope it didn't wash all that away. It looked like it fared through the first 1.5 inches, but there was some torrential downpours yesterday, last night, and then of course today when the hurricane actually came through. Nothing like the mountains or the Gulf Coast or anything like that, though. Mr. Will's still here. It dries over that they're cutting. I'm ready to put out a video soon. Yeah, I've been wondering that, Mr. Brent. I've fallen off quite a bit on the videos, guys, as far as keeping up with a lot of you, and I apologize for that. It just seems like that there's not enough hours in the day anymore. A lot of times I find myself, I would say pocket watching, but I watch the videos like at the farm doing something, and then I don't have my readers with me, and I can't make a comment, and I end up not going back and comment. And I hate just doing a generic thumbs up or, something like that, because I feel like that you might think that I didn't watch the whole video. So usually I try to make a detailed comment on it, but we shall see. Let's see. Maybe it'll do good for your next spring auto type. I hope so. I'll tell you, it's just orchard grass. But it's the first time in my lifetime, and probably that I know of, many years my grandpa was doing it, that actually, a field was turned under and worked and reworked and planted back in grass. So I tell you what, I was told how much easier that ground would work up once we had a crop in it. And it was so mellow this time versus, which I had it ready. I did everything with the wheat stubble. Got run over with a finish disc, so it was nice. I hit it with offset and the finish disc. Me and my buddy did. The 180 came back to play with the tillage work, and it worked out really, really good. It was a little tacky. I had some business to take care of off the farm, and I was able to come back when I was finished with that, and it had been overcast all day, so I was a little worried about that, but I think it worked out just right once we went over it. So if you guys are interested, definitely stick around for that video Sunday. If you got to watch the trailer on the live stream that I said I was going to, I scheduled, it shows you a little tidbit of it, but then we're back to the regular old, same old. Radio Static Production, there he is. How are you, my friend? I hope we get some videos out of you this winter. I know you stay busy all the time. I've got Orchard Vine, Fescue, Mix, thinking about doing some Timothy. Yeah, I wanted to do that in the very beginning. I was all excited about the Timothy, and then I figured out that it doesn't do well here. I've been told Brome does pretty good around here. Most people are Orchard and Fescue in my general area. I don't necessarily say I want to be different, and I don't want to have, whatever. I'm gonna try some TIF. I know that's crazy. I think it'll grow here. It's very hard to dry down from what I understand, which, I'll probably rack my head on that, but I'm going to put a couple rows of TIF grass in and see how it does here at some point. And maybe some, like I said, some alfalfa, but it may end up being just, regular fescue or orchard grass. I don't know. We'll see, but we'll see how the customers react to it this year anyway. Brent says, I'm going to do a video one of these days. Same old stuff here. Yeah, I wish you would, Mr. Brent. I know you're staying busy. Got to head out. Thank you very much, Evan, for stopping by. I really appreciate all the support, my friend. I think we're going to call it at 1:20. So 1 hour and 20 minutes. That's 6 more minutes. So if you guys got anything to say or questions or anything, drop them on down in the comments and let's get through that. And then we'll call it at 1 hour and 20. Orchard grass and fescue will grow in sand. I have good luck with it. Okay. I got you. Where are you located? Hat Creek? Faraway Farm. Let's both grow TIF and see how it is. Oh, you're thinking about that too, Mr. Will? I've been watching a lot of videos on. There's a guy that I found his channel not recently, and I don't know, I'm intrigued by his detailed. Let's see, what is the name of his channel? Something Forage. I want to say he's up y'all's way, um, but he's tried everything, and just kind of down to earth guy. And I was watching that. And I watched a couple other videos on, talked to a couple of people. It's just, other than the dry down, it's amazing, and how fast it grows. My goodness. But the dry down, they say, is awful. But I do have a tedder finally. Dylan hooked me up with his. He's upgrading to a 4 basket, so he's redone a bunch of parts on his. So I'm gonna wind up with that before next year, so we won't have that same issue rolling it over every couple of days. Radio static production. Now I've got to go to the beginning. Yeah, you missed it, but I know what you've been out doing, so that's a good excuse. Yeah, hour and 20 minutes of me babbling. I doubt you'll make it all the way back to the beginning. You hear enough of that as it is. Leeton, Alabama. Well, so how did you guys do with the storm then? Did you say that already? I apologize. Adam says, I've got 2 fields of alfalfa Timothy mix. Don't put too much Timothy in the mix. It's a mess if it lodges. I grow TIF from time to time, and I like. It seems like what I figured out with TIF is either that somebody really loves it or they really hate it. That's what I've found in the forums and whatnot. My supplier here local can get it. It's reasonable, and I'm curious because of the fast growth, and it will definitely outgrow any of the weeds and all that I have. But again, you're gambling on the dry down time, but we'll see. I mean, I don't think I'll do anything in great mass. Orchard grass is pretty much proven around here. Again, same buddy with the baler and accumulator and the stack wagon I was telling you about. They do orchard and fescue, and it grows very well. We're local together, so I think I'll be okay there. But as far as growing 3 or 4 or 5 acres of all alfalfa or something like that, no. I'm gonna try small patches and stuff and see what works best for me and my schedule, basically. Which a lot could possibly change over the next year and a half coming down the line. So I hope you guys will stay tuned with that too, for the good. Let's see, Hat Creek, LaGrange Mountain, Hat Creek, about 2 inches of rain, lots of wind. Okay, so y'all weren't too bad on the rain. Good. TIF makes a bit of different measure. Yes, I've definitely seen that or read about that. I'll have to say, Adam. Well, that's good to hear. Now you're again in where? Remind me where you are. I've been trying to put the feelers out to see if anybody around here grows it. But I've heard about it in North Carolina, so we're gonna see. I mean, I don't let all the cats out of the bag, but I'm willing to try anything one time. I mean, it's not. I got the price on the Roundup Ready alfalfa the other day, and I'd like to, bit my tongue off, but would be nice. It really would be nice to have that control aspect of it, but I don't know. I really got to do something with the center field where all the weeds are, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do there yet. I'm not sure if that's going to go into grain or if that's just going to go back to hay right now. It depends on what I can get done with erosion control and those low spots this winter. I might get my cousin up there to do some work out in Wisconsin. That's what I was thinking, Wisconsin. Got pumpkins ready to harvest. Hopefully the wind and towards mine. That's another thing, Hat Creek, that I promised the wife we'd do in the very beginning was pumpkins, and I never have gotten around to it, which I know the deer would have a field day, but that's a small enough area, I think, that I could fence that off and probably keep them out. Of course, all I can do is plant some corn. I don't think they'll eat anything else around but that. Orchard grass is always a win, Mr. Brandt says. Good deal. I'm glad to hear that. Well, hopefully you'll enjoy the video Sunday, Mr. Brandt, because I definitely, I laid it to it. That's overseeded. I was told that with the broadcaster, of course, and the little herd seeder did really well. I do have it for sale just because trying to go a little bit different route, but I can't complain because it had the chart right on it, and it did great with the fertilizer and then with the seed. I thought about doing it with a drill, but I said that earlier. I don't have the seed boxes, and I didn't have anybody there to drive to keep the seed from bridging. I was just going to take the tubes out and let it fall on the ground. But I mean that would give me a control, if you will, in a sense, controlled spill like drills do versus the broadcasting. But we just overseeded it, and we're going to see what happens. So, all right, guys, it's an hour, 19 minutes, and 27 seconds. 13 of you still in, 25 thumbs up. I cannot say thank you enough for you guys stopping by tonight. And hopefully you enjoy, what's coming down the ladder. I think I have to say that orchard grass, planting of the field and field work will probably be the last you see of field work until we get, Glenda in the corn, and that is going to happen. It may be a lot later than sooner, but we'll see what happens. But I've got a lot of work to do. I got to finish up the corn head on her. I got to finish up. I've gotten quite a good start on Gordon's truck finally, and we'll wrap that up here hopefully before long, and get something done with the Super C, and all kinds of little things like that. So hopefully you enjoy it. Again, like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're gonna get. It's not all out farming all the time, but appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all for everything you do, sticking around the journey, and don't ever hesitate to get in touch with me if you got anything, any questions that you have that we don't get into the comments or whatever else. Shoot me an email, we'll exchange numbers, whatever. Just be ready to listen to a lot of talking. My wife's in there with her thumbs rolling right now, probably want me to get off here. But anyway, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. And we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. See you.